Liberty Fighters Network.
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 Liberty Fighters Network. Liberty Fighters Network.
Good day, liberators and fellow South Africans. Liberty Fighters Network and I are so blessed to have supporters like you. Without you, we would not be doing what we are doing. And in order to bring you up to speed with where we are and where we are heading, I'm just going to have a general summary of where we are heading to and all the cases and legal challenges that we are involved in. So let me start off that you all know by now that we became famous through our challenge of the COVID-19 theory. So at the end of the day, the whole entire COVID-19 narrative and what happened in the world gave rise to several other things. And South Africa is one of the, if not the most important country in the entire world at this stage. Yes, people, in the entire world. Because the Western countries especially, and also the East, have realized that our resources and the people on our continent is extremely valuable for the future of the entire world. So it's important to focus on South Africa so that their plans for their own countries can realize in the long term. So unfortunately, not only South Africa, but the entire African continent have been exploited by the Western countries. So let me explain to you what we are currently doing, all the cases that we've done and are involved in currently, and also our international challenges to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. So let me start off with COVID-19 as a new so-called novel disease. We are talking about, or we call it the COVID-19 theory, because of the fact that COVID-19 has not been proved by any court anywhere in the entire world. There was a general narrative that COVID-19 exists just because the World Health Organization said so. But nowhere in the entire world has any court proved that COVID-19 really exists. So let me start off with, firstly, we are the only organization which is still challenging the health regulations. Yes, people, it's those regulations that came into force mid last year in 2022. The moment when the national state of disaster for COVID-19 came to an end, those health regulations immediately came into force, and we were the first ones to challenge that. Soon thereafter, Solidariteit, DSA, AfriForum and CABLZAJJ pursued. However, people, there were quite a number of things that happened during the course of those proceedings, which you as a nation should know. We are the only organization from all of them who are still continuing to challenge those health regulations. AfriForum, DSA, CABLZAJJ and Solidarity, they all bombed out. Why? We don't know. But unfortunately, as I've said so many times, we strongly believe that AfriForum and Solidarity specifically, and also CABLZAJJ because they were formed via this alliance, they are all controlled opposition. They are not our friends. AfriForum and Solidarity have shown over and over again that they are aligned with families like the Ruperts and the Oppenheimers, and I don't want to go into that further. You can go and do your own research about them, but Liberty Fighters Network will not support anything that they engage in. So we are the only ones challenging those health regulations, because that will be the corridor in which the government will try to implement another lockdown. So we are in the phase, we're continuing with it. The next step that we are busy with is to compile our heads of argument, our practice notes, etc., so that the matter can be enrolled on the opposed roll of the High Court in Pretoria. Secondly, we are also challenging the termination of the national state of disaster. You would say, but why are you challenging the termination of it? Because through that court process, and we're the only one doing it, we're going to prove that, firstly, the national state of disaster effectively came to an end on August the 15th, 2020, because of the fact that we believe that the national state of disaster was supposed to end was supposed to be extended on the 14th of August 2020, but the government only did it on the 15th of August. There's in fact a constitutional court case which we are going to utilize in our arguments to prove that they were one day late and that the entire national state of disaster should have been declared all over again, which it was not. And that is over and above our strong belief that through our court case, our court order that we've obtained on the 2nd of June 2020, that the national state of disaster ended on the 24th or on the eve of the 23rd of June 2020 already. We are sure of that. Then we will keep you up to date with that. Then we've got a very interesting case against the South African Reserve Bank. The South African Reserve Bank, we strongly believe from evidence, is not part of South Africa and is a creature directly controlled by the United Kingdom. We've lodged this court application to find the South African Reserve Bank Act and also the Exchange Control Acts, etc., linked to that as unconstitutional and invalid. The president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, is also part of that, because the very regulations which the South African Reserve Bank are currently utilizing to investigating on the Follow report, linked to the Follow incident. We have actually determined that he, as the president, is still responsible for that act and also for the regulations. So no one knew that. It was never ever changed. So we've opened the corridor to say, okay, there's something wrong with the South African Reserve Bank Act, so let's challenge that. That is important, because if we can prove through that court process that the South African Reserve Bank is not the central bank, as people believe in terms of our constitution, because of the fact that it is being defined in the 1989 South African Reserve Bank Act as the bank that was created way back under the Union of South Africa. And as you know, that the Union of South Africa was still a colony of the United Kingdom. So why would they utilize a new act, 1989, and define the South African Reserve Bank retrospectively to 1922 to be exact? That is also something that we need to determine, because the South African Reserve Bank regulates all the banking in South Africa. So if we can prove that the South African Reserve Bank is in fact an institution manipulated by the United Kingdom, then it makes South African Reserve Bank a terrorist organization, people. Then they have sabotaged our country's resources, our country's finances for all these years, especially since 1994, when we became a democracy. So we were made to believe that the South African Reserve Bank is our central bank in terms of the Constitution of South Africa, but we are saying that that central bank has never been created as yet. So that's a very interesting matter. Then we've also got the representation for ex-President Jacob Zuma that we are following through the African Commission on Human People's Rights. People, I know, and as I've said in previous videos, that many people have been programmed that Jacob Zuma is the enemy. People, to be frank, I don't trust any politician at this stage. But Jacob Zuma, I believe, have been sentenced to imprisonment unfairly and unconstitutionally. He could never have been sentenced by the Constitutional Court to imprisonment for the mere fact that there was no further appeal processes. The African Charter specifically says that there must be appeal processes in any criminal prosecution. There was none for Jacob Zuma. So, because we are also challenging the judicial and legal system of South Africa, that is our main focus to be exact. we have stipulated that it's in the interest of the people of South Africa that the African Commission on Human and People's Rights declare that the South African government, via the Constitutional Court, violated the human rights of Jacob Zuma by sentencing him to imprisonment without the option of an appeal. So that is very important, because we are in the face of the judiciary and the legal system of South Africa. We believe that the judiciary and the legal system of South Africa needs to be reformed and not only transformed. There's a major problem with the entire system, legal system of South Africa. We need to get away from all these Western influences and create a judicial and legal system unique to us as a country. Effectively, we will also assist many other countries in the entire continent of Africa to move away from the Western old English system that we've been mainly using in South Africa. There are countries in Africa which are still using a week for judges. That is typical how the attire for the United Kingdom still is for ceremonial purposes. So yes, that's just indicative that the European way of court system is still fixed in our country and continent, and we need to get rid of it. We need to reform it. Then there is so we will be continuing with the challenge or assisting President Jacob Zuma free of charge. We're not expecting any cent from him, just like we do with all the other people that we are assisting. And because also for the fact that we don't want to be seen as an organization, you've been captured, you are receiving a lot of money from him. No, people, prove that we are receiving bunches of monies from secret admirers, investors, and we'll deal with it. And I'm just repeating that if anyone has got any issue with Liberty Fighters Network, we want you to organize a live podcast and invite me to it, and you ask those questions directly to me, and I answer your questions directly to the entire world and the entire citizens of South Africa. Because we are a total independent organization. We are not aligned with any other. So people, there's a lot of organizations who are supporting and who Jacob Zuma. We're not aligned with any one of those. All those people who are supporting him, they are totally, or we are totally independent from them. And then our COVID-19 challenge that we have also proceeded to the African Union on African Commission on Human and People's Rights. The COVID-19, as you can remember, that we've taken the entire COVID-19 challenge in South Africa through the entire court system of South Africa. We've started off in the High Court, we've proceeded to the Supreme Court of Appeal, we went to the Constitutional Court, and people lately, because of the contempt of court charges brought against me by the Supreme Court of Appeal, and go and watch videos on that, so that you know the background, I've lodged an application to the Constitutional Court late last year, asking the Constitutional Court to declare that the Supreme Court of Appeal judgment dated in July 2021, should be declared as null and void. We've given sufficient reasons why we believe that the judgment never even existed, and that all the challenges or all the accusations of contempt of court are also invalid that were laid against me. Now, very interesting in this, in my papers to the Constitutional Court, to reopen the whole COVID-19 issue in South Africa again before the Constitutional Court, I've given them an ultimatum. I've asked them, people, if you're going to seize this, then there is hope for our judiciary, and it means that you are not captured. But if you are not going to seize this, it means that you are captured. And what has in fact happened, that notwithstanding that the Constitutional Court went on recess early in December, in fact end of November, on the 23rd of December, during their recess, they have actually come out with a judgment. It was a Friday. All judges sat and they said that I did not trigger direct access to the Constitutional Court, and for that reason, my application for direct access was refused. when you see that both Justice Maya, Deputy Chief Justice Maya, who was the erstwhile president of the Supreme Court of Appeal, and also Justice David Unterhalter, which is acting in the Constitutional Court at present, who are not part of the decision, the unanimous decision by the Constitutional Court not to seize my application, although the Constitutional Court was the only court which could have dealt with it, because it pertains to the Supreme Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court of Appeal only functions as an appeal court. So you cannot take applications to the Supreme Court of Appeal and ask them for certain legal relief besides directly linked to the appeal itself. So the Constitutional Court said that I've not triggered any direct access and that they have refused. They haven't given any reasons for that. So I'm sitting in the position, number one, it has confirmed from their own side that we've been captured. Without a doubt, I am 100% sure that the Constitutional Court and the entire judiciary effectively have been captured. We need to find out who's responsible for that. So that's very important. And further in this is that I'm at the point whereby did they want me to continue with the challenge in the African Union before the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, or did they just, because they can, dismiss it? So what I'm going to do and what I'm busy doing now is that I'm actually in fact challenging or taking this matter now to the High Court to say that, well, the Constitutional Court says that I have not triggered the direct access, and now I want you as the High Court to judge the Supreme Court of Appeal, so that the High Court can then say, but we are not at liberty and we don't have the authority to judge processes in the Supreme Court of Appeal, and then dismiss my case, so that I can go back to the Constitutional Court and say, oh guys, you said that I did not trigger, but this is what the appeal, what the High Court now says is that we don't have the authority. So where must I address this besides you? So it's just putting all these dogs into the same arena and let them fight themselves out. That is what we need to do, because people need proof, and this is the only way in which we can give people proof. And we have requested the African Union Commission to just hold back on, because this challenge is still local and they are not supposed to deal with matters which have not been exhausted locally. We've asked them to just hold the challenge of the COVID-19 theory for a second until this has been settled, because we've got this new opportunity to challenge the COVID-19 theory, and we unfortunately have to bend that matter. So that will still continue, and we are addressing that. So people, and then I'm also busy with the appeal for Dr. J. In the Equality Court. We about to lodge our Supreme Court of Appeal papers for dismissing her discrimination case relating to COVID-19 in the Equality Court held at the High Court at the Western Cape Division, Cape Town. Again, on the 9th of December 2022, we've received the judgment in the application for leave to appeal that we brought before Justice Steyn again, and coincidentally she also retired formally on the 18th of December according to the office of the Judge President Hlophe of the High Court there, and but the reasons given was so people, you can see that there's elements who really don't want us to succeed. So we are now taking the matter to the Supreme Court of Appeal. We'll give proper feedback on that, and through this we also having several other court cases. So at the end of the day, we are also assisting normal people with repossessions, bank repossessions of immovable property, of their homes, of their cars, evictions. We are assisting both those who are evicted and also those who need eviction. We are assisting in criminal cases where people have been totally outmanned by the legal fraternity and they don't know what to do anymore, so then they come to us. And then also even family law matters, divorces, and also custody matters. We assisting with all those matters. As far as we can, we never show the door to anyone to say that we cannot help. We always try to assist within our capabilities without asking people any money. We don't expect them to pay us. We are so blessed that people like you, our supporters, have been giving donations to us. We don't have secret funders. So we don't, the fact that we are staying on the line in one of our cases, the salt matter, we are actually assisting the President, Ramaphosa, and also that we are there to assist Jacob Zuma on the other side with his challenge. We're just running straight to our target. So we are not straying off. And that is why I'm so concerned with so many other challenges going on. I've seen that there are organizations taking on COVID-19 vaccines again. But people, the reality is, if you don't, like us are doing, and that is the other case, we are challenging also the approval of 4 COVID-19 vaccines in South Africa. That process is at a point whereby the government, SAPRA, have provided us with a record of these decisions, but half of it were blacked out. So we are now in the process of going to court to compel SAPRA to provide us with a full record. That's very interesting. So that's also a High Court matter that we are dealing with. But what I'm trying to say is that people, you cannot, if you don't go to the root cause of the problem with the vaccines, we are actually effectively saying that yes, COVID-19 exists, COVID-19, the vaccines are legitimately registered, because they are now trying to stop them because of the adverse effects. People, go with us. Challenge the approval process, because that record just shows that there were such a collusion going on with the approval process. We've got the facts already. With even if they've blacked out most parts of it, there's frightening stuff in there. But people, this was just to quickly give a summarized go ahead with all the issues or cases that we are dealing with. So people, as I've said, liberators, we only rely on voluntary donations, and because of the fact that I don't have the time. I honestly don't have the time to constantly put out on social media what we are doing. I'm not there. And people think that because I'm not on social media, we don't exist. It's quite the contrary, because we are challenging. We are doing something about it. I must go for a trip to KZN for a court case again, and also for a very important meeting in KZN soon. And so I'm always going. I'm constantly busy with all these things. So people, we are so thankful for all of you who have been giving us donations. We really, really appreciate it. But the fact is that we have lost support. We have lost people or participants on our social media, probably because of the fact that people think that we're not doing anything. But people share this video with as many as possible people so that they know what we are busy with, and we can prove each and everything that I've just said. So thank you very much for your support. I will be making this another video very soon. I'll try my best to send out regular videos on what we are doing, and please support us. Stay with us. We cannot do all this without your support. Even if you cannot financially contribute, please let us know where you can assist with administration or with marketing. No, not marketing, but with fundraising. We need to have a fundraising project going on, because the 2024 local national elections are coming next year. There's a lot of information that we want to go and tell people, especially in informal settlements, in townships. I want to have meetings with people in the township. I want to tell them what is going on and what we have been doing. And I want to tell each of them that do not support any of the 14 political parties which are currently in government. They are all our enemies. None of them are on our side. We need a new political party, a new regime to take over legitimately and change the system from within. That's the only way in which we can have progress, real progress in South Africa. People, I hope that this have explained in summary what we are doing. You are most welcome to send me an email on anything, and we'll be there trying to assist all of you. God bless until the next time. Thanks.
Liberty Fighters Network.
Liberty Fighters Network.
Liberty Fighters Network.
Liberty Fighters Network.